The 2020 election was not kind to Florida Democrats. They lost two important congressional seats in South Florida, a state Senate race in Miami-Dade by just a handful of votes.
Those losses set off a scramble for new leadership at the Florida Democratic Party, and the winner was former Miami Mayor Manny Diaz. Diaz is a Miami attorney and, as we mentioned, a former mayor and so much more. Good morning. So glad to have you with us, Manny.
Manny, good morning. Great to see you.
Well, good morning to both of you, and I hope you and your families are safe and healthy. And by the way, this seems to be a City of Miami day, at least since I've been watching.
And we're glad it is. Manny, you don't need any kind of a PhD to know that the Florida Democratic Party took a terrible beating in November, losing the congressional seats and the Jose Javier Rodriguez Senate seat, other seats in across the state. How are you going to put the party back together?
We're going to build a year-round organization. This is regrettably an organization that hasn't worked off of a systematic master plan, strategic plan throughout the year that tends to come to life a few months before the election, running around with their heads cut off. And I think you need to professionalize the operation of the party. You need to build a year-round infrastructure that is a statewide effort. I mean, not just in the principal counties, but also in many of our smaller red and rural counties, where I think we can. And we saw that, by the way, in Georgia. Georgia did a phenomenal job. Yes, of course, Georgia did well in Fulton County, and Atlanta, and DeKalb, and some of the more populous counties. But they also did a phenomenal job in reaching out to local areas and bringing that vote out.
So it sounds like you are rebuilding from the ground up. I know you had fired or let go most of the staff. I wanted to ask you about the very first email that went out to Florida Democrats that somebody had forwarded to me. And the subject line is introducing myself. And a lot of people know who you are, but that's what it says here, introducing myself. But it's a very short email. It asks for money, but there's nothing in the email that tells people who might donate what you might be doing differently with that money. What will you be doing differently with that money?
We're going to build a statewide organization, and we're going to build it from the ground, like you pointed out. It's going to be grassroots. It's going to be from the ground up, not from the top down. And that involves everything from training and recruiting candidates and enhancing, which was not bad. Our vote by mail project last year did very well, but we need to do better on early voting. We need to do better on get out the vote. We need to start the process now of recruiting and training candidates for offices all throughout the state. It'll be a statewide effort with regional operations where people can be close to people in all parts of the state. And it's going to take a little while, but I think we can, and we will, and we'll get that ready by the time 2022 rolls around.
Yeah, Manny, one of the sort of major things you've got to do is step up your bench, your number of candidates who are going to run 2022. You need a candidate to run for governor. You've got to find a candidate to run against Marco Rubio for the Senate. Talk to us about who some of your upcoming stars, who's going to be running in those races.
Well, I need to be careful now because I can't pick and choose any candidates, but there have been a number of names floated. I keep hearing names, but by the way, it's not just the governor's race. We also have the rest of the cabinet that will be up for election. And I've heard names like Congresswoman Murphy, Congresswoman Demings, State Attorney Arenberg, Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, just to name a few that I've heard so far in different capacities for different interests. I have no idea whether they're doing it or not, or what race they would do it in.
I just want to ask you a quick question about I know the lessons learned from this last election in November in Florida, Hispanics and Latin communities, and I hate talking about that as a big demographic, but there was a really surprising shift to a Republican vote. And the word socialism that was blasted by the GOP really had an effect. Is that an issue for you, and what are you doing about that?
It clearly was an issue down here. We let that we let the opponent define who we were. We took it in the chin for over a year, as you both know. The president, the vice president, the family, and all the surrogates were really made Florida their home, and spent a lot of time down here beating up on that message. And we were not responding until the very end. I can tell you that I was involved in cutting some TV ads down here in Spanish, TV and Spanish radio, and just in a 3-week period, we moved the needle 20 points. So I think it's doable. Look, it's in the Republican playbook. They have absolutely nothing positive to offer us and the people of this community. And so the only thing they can do is go on the attack. And unfortunately, we did not defend ourselves. We also didn't create the kind of ground organization down here that we would have needed. President-elect Biden got actually the same number of raw votes as Secretary Clinton did in 2016. But what happened was on the Republican side, they just had an incredible uptick. As you know, the campaign had decided that because of COVID, they weren't going to ask people to go out and do a ground game. And you know, in a community like Miami-Dade County, people need to see you out there. You need to be out there and touching people, feeling people, and
Manny,
and
I'm
looking.
going to have to. I beg your pardon. Jump in here. You've got a huge and basically thankless job. If you do it well, people may say thank you, but if you don't, you'll certainly hear about it. But you got big shoulders. I know you can take it. Thanks very much. We appreciate your time today.
Take care.
I don't walk away from a challenge, Michael. You know that.
You love a challenge. That's true. Thanks,
Thank
Manny.
you.
Thank you.